Hi again then guys, and welcome to another circuit build for the new vehicles from Gran Turismo Sports 1.25 patch. This time of course the classic Mini, which a lot of you guys along with myself really have enjoyed. Really love this car from the new pack. It might be my favourite one so far. I'm going to have to wait and see how the Daytona is once I've purchased that. But I think in terms of handling, this one is the clear winner from the pack. It's absolutely incredible through corners, a ton of fun, and of course the obvious place to take it is to the absolute peak of N100 as a track weapon. Now later on today we're going to take it around the Nordschleife and you'll see the kind of lap that it can do in the review for it, but for now we're taking it around Suzuka to again compare it to some of the other N100 cars like K cars, that sort of stuff, because they themselves are also pretty quick as well. Now as far as the upgrades, I would recommend tuning up to the absolute peak of N100, but of course balance of performance can change all of that basically, so the rest of it you can still adjust. Of course the power and weight is variable, but I would recommend upgrading it if you can. Traction control you definitely don't need on this one. We've got it on sports softs, not racing softs, because of course it's absolutely hilarious to drive on racing tyres because it's so good. But I wanted it to basically be more authentic, to give you some idea of what it can do in an actual realistic racing scenario in N100 with more heavy restrictions, so not racing tyres because they're so much of an advantage. But in terms of the suspension, to move on, I've got the lowest ride height, not too surprisingly. As far as the springs, we've stiffened them up to 2, front and rear, anti-roll to 7, then as far as the dampers, 65 on compression, 90 on the rebound. Neutral camber on the back, 1 degree on the front, helps out a little bit with stability and also the turn into corners. And as far as the toe, we've gone neutral as usual. Of course downforce doesn't apply. As far as the diff, I've gone for the lowest settings for both initial torque and acceleration, and then as far as braking, as high as possible. As you can see, again, it's down to you. I'd recommend trying different things. You can also run it pretty well with 5 on all 3. It works pretty well under that scenario as well. But as far as the gearbox, again, it's not a straight line tune. The speed pretty much takes care of itself. You can get about 125, 127-ish miles per hour out of it, which is pretty good. That's around the Nordschleife at least. And as far as the settings, I've just bumped it to 137, and then I haven't adjusted anything else because, again, it will vary depending on balance of performance, the amount of power that you give it, all that kind of stuff is variable. So that's it for the tune. What about what it can actually do around a technical circuit such as Suzuka? Well, Suzuka is a great track for testing out smaller vehicles in particular because as well as being a very compact track in terms of the road size, it's also got a good mix of some decent straights but a lot of sweeping corners where it's more about high average speed. So it's perfect for a vehicle like this, it's perfect for K cars, it's perfect for lower end racing up to about N400, and of course you can race whatever you want here, but it tends to be those kinds of cars which you can get a really nice kind of flow through the corners with, where you don't need to brake as much as with a race car. You can allow the car to flow or coast through the corners, and as far as this one goes, it's about 2 or 3 seconds quicker than something like the Daihatsu Copen around this same track, also obviously in N100. Now as far as on other tracks around the Nordschleife, again, as I said, you'll see later today what it can do there with racing tyres, and it's really good. It can easily keep up with cars that sometimes have 200 or 300 horsepower more. The lap that I did with this one, which is a 237 on the second lap, is about the same as my N400 Dodge Challenger. So a car with a lot more power, but is still roughly the same as this, because of course, just like in real life back in the day, the Mini, just like Lotus cars and various other British racing and rally models, it didn't have the sheer straight line power and torque, but it was so quick through the corners. Just like that, this one is great in that sense. If you use it on the right track, it's a weapon, and a formidable one as well. But overall, if you do decide to use the tune, I hope you have a ton of fun with it, and I would recommend racing tyres because that's the best, but of course you usually probably won't be able to use those. So we went for Sports Soft just to make it a little bit more accurate to what you can expect. And of course racing tyres will probably cut another couple of seconds if not more off of your lap again. But that's it for this tune. Of course you can click through here on screen to see plenty of my other tunes as well, and for now, as always, thanks for watching.